Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that the money you worked years to save is silently slipping away, vanishing not with a bang, but in the quiet shuffle of bureaucratic papers you'll never see. What if I told you this financial erosion doesn't happen by accident, but by design? Welcome to a world where your hard-earned dollars can lose value before your eyes without you ever opening your wallet. Today, we're digging deep into how governments quietly inflate your money away, step by step. We'll expose the levers pulled behind closed doors, showing exactly how systemic inflation is both created and concealed. By the end, you'll never look at your savings the same way again. Most of us save for the future. College funds for our kids, rainy day accounts, retirement plans. But what if, no matter how diligent you are, an invisible force constantly chips away at what you've built? That force is inflation, and the culprit behind it, more often than not, is government policy. Understanding how this game works isn't just finance trivia. It's crucial if you want to protect your money from quietly being whittled away. Let's break this down. Inflation, at its core, is the rise of prices across the board, so your dollars buy less and less over time. But where does inflation come from, and who benefits? Most modern governments use something called fiat money, currency backed not by gold or silver, but by trust in the government itself. This gives them immense power. They can increase the supply of money at will. How? Usually through their central bank. Here's the basic mechanism. If a government wants to spend more than it collects in taxes, it issues new debt, selling government bonds. Central banks, like the Federal Reserve in the US, can then buy these bonds. To do this, the central bank simply creates new digital money out of thin air. This money flows from the government into the economy. Contracts, salaries, programs. It seems harmless on the surface. But as more money chases the same amount of goods, prices rise. Each piece of currency becomes worth a little less. Meanwhile, governments and central banks rarely advertise this process. Official statements talk about stimulating the economy or managing monetary supply. What doesn't get discussed is that over decades, this steady drip of inflation transforms your $100 bill into $90, $80, or less, without you ever seeing a direct tax bill. This is sometimes called the inflation tax. It's politically easier than raising taxes outright, but just as destructive to your purchasing power. And those who benefit? Typically, it's large borrowers, governments, big corporations, who see their own debt shrink in real terms, while ordinary savers shoulder the cost. Let's get concrete with a recent example: the COVID-19 pandemic and its aftermath in the United States. In 2020 and 2021, Congress approved trillions of dollars in new spending, stimulus checks, business relief, expanded unemployment benefits. Where did all this money come from? The Treasury sold government bonds, and the Federal Reserve rapidly bought them up, creating new money digitally. In fact, over $4 trillion was added to the U.S. money supply in just 18 months, the steepest spike in modern history. How did this affect ordinary people? At first, many felt relief. The checks came, rent was covered, businesses survived. But beneath the surface, the tidal wave of new dollars finally hit. Grocery bills soared. Gas prices spiked. Used cars suddenly cost a fortune. By 2022, inflation in the U.S. hit rates not seen in 4 decades, peaking at over 9%. If you had $10,000 in a savings account, earning almost zero interest, it lost hundreds of dollars in purchasing power almost overnight. In effect, your savings were quietly raided, not by a thief in the night, but by the silent collective action of fiscal and monetary policy. Now, imagine this process playing out globally, in places like Venezuela or Zimbabwe, but at even more devastating speed, where inflation wipes out life savings in months. The key difference is just a matter of scale and speed. So next time you check your bank balance, ask yourself, how much is my money really worth? Is it safe from the silent hands of inflation, or is it dissolving, bit by bit, behind the scenes? As technology makes printing money ever easier, will any of us be able to protect our wealth from this hidden force? The quiet theft of your savings is real, ongoing and often ignored. But awareness is your first shield.